Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Salamat Patang. Namaskar. My name is Padmini Srinivas. On behalf of the High Commission of India, Kuala Lumpur, and the Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Indian Cultural Center, it's my immense pleasure and privilege to welcome you all to the Ayurveda Day Celebrations. I would like to begin by welcoming His Excellency, Mr. B. N. Reddy, the High Commissioner of India to Malaysia, Mrs. Archana Nair, the Deputy High Commissioner of India to Malaysia. It's also my privilege to welcome Dr. Go Cheng Soon, the Director of Traditional and Complementary Medicine Division, and Dr. Janani Bhupalan, the President of PEPTIM, Dr. C.D. Sibi, Ayur Center, Malaysia, and Dr. Anjali Rajiv. Thank you very much for joining us, along with the guest speakers, the dignitaries, friends from media, officers and colleagues from High Commission of India, Kuala Lumpur, and the Indian Cultural Center. I welcome you all to today's event. Today's event is part of the Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav celebrations, which is a Government of India's initiative to celebrate 75 years of India's independence. Ayurveda Day is observed every year on the day of Dhanvantri Jayanti, and this year it falls on the 2nd of November. The aim of this celebration is to create a sense of awareness in today's generation and also promote Ayurvedic principles of healing in society. As we all know, Ayurveda is one of the most ancient and the well-documented systems of medicine, which is equally relevant in today's times. Its holistic approaches for all individuals remains unparalleled. Prevention of disease and promotion of health is the main aim of Ayurveda. The practice to observe the Ayurveda Day, which falls on the Dhanvantri Jayanti, was started by the Union Ministry of Ayush, which is Ayurveda, Yoga, Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha, and Homeopathy in the year 2016. Therefore, the Dhanvantri Jayanti was preferred for the celebration of Ayurveda Day to nationalize this system of medicine and to make it global. Without further delay, we will begin today's program. May I request Mrs. Varsha Kannan, the Indian Cultural Center music teacher, to begin today's program with an invocation on Lord Dhanvantri.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantraye Amritakalashahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashaya Trailokya Nadhaya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantraye Amritakalashahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashaya Trailokya Nadhaya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Thank you.
It's my privilege now to welcome His Excellency, Mr. B. N. Reddy, for his welcome address.
Thank you, Padmini. Dr. Go Cheng Soon, Director, Traditional and Complementary Medicine Division of the Ministry of Health of the Government of Malaysia. Dr. Janani Bhupalan, President, Malaysian Association of Traditional Indian Medicine, PEPTIM. Dr. C.D. Sibi, Chief Ayurvedic Physician, Ayur Center. Dr. Anjali Rajivan, Ayurvedic Doctor. Practitioners of Ayurveda and other systems of Indian medicine in Malaysia. Our Deputy High Commissioner, Archana Nair. Friends from media. I extend a very warm welcome to all of you to the celebration of the 6th Ayurveda Day. It's a day celebrated every year, as mentioned earlier, on Dhanvantari Jayanti in India and across the world. Ayurveda has been an important element of Indian heritage. Focus in the recent years has been on making the best use of traditional systems of medicine for modern day's ailments. The current pandemic has further shown that the traditional medicine has an important supplementary role both in prevention as well as in recovery. We will soon hear about post-recovery, COVID recovery from Dr. Sivi. Considering the immense potential of Ayurvedic concepts of nutrition, the theme this year is Ayurveda for Poshan. Poshan means nutrition. This is Ayurveda for nutrition or in nutrition, with focus on the role of diet in health and healthy lifestyles. And Dr. Anjali will tell us more about it. Friends, from an economic and business perspective, the potential of traditional medicine globally, it is very huge. Just take India. The size of the Indian traditional medicine market is estimated at about $18 billion in this year. And it is projected to grow to reach $23 billion by 2022. So we are looking at fairly large market for use of traditional systems of medicine. To utilize this untapped potential, in India, we are taking several steps. I'm also aware that in Malaysia, there are several steps being taken. A program in India we launched called Ayurvedha. Udyama means it's essentially talking of startups. You know, we hear about startups in all sectors, but for the first time in India, we are launching Ayur startups. This, in fact, it was launched by our Honorable Minister of Ayush last week, essentially to encourage innovation and startups in the field of Ayurveda. An incubation center has also been dedicated recently at the All India Institute of Ayurveda. This is looking at both innovation and entrepreneurship. And again, as I said, there will be a lot of focus on Ayurveda in this particular dimension. In this age, when youth is driving the various dimensions of our life, I think we are hoping in India that this incubation centers will help Ayur startups so that they bring in medicine, traditional systems of medicines through very innovative means for greater use in the market and by the people, certainly. Yeah. Globally, the practice of traditional medicine is increasing. It's very clear. What substantiates this argument is over 170 member countries of the World Health Organization, WHO, they have acknowledged their use of traditional and complementary medicine in the recent years. In fact, WHO is working on an updated strategy for traditional medicine from 2014 now till 2023, building further on their earlier work which was done in the early part of this century. On the Ayurveda Day occasion last year, WHO announced establishment of a global center for traditional medicine in India. We hope this will further give a fillip to the use of traditional medicine in Indian context, but also since it is a WHO-led organization which will be coming up, we look forward to its greater promotion, and both in terms of therapeutic as well as in terms of various aspects. As we know today, we are looking at nutrition as one dimension. Friends, Malaysia is home to age-old traditional medicine systems. Even in this field, I must say, Malaysia is truly Asia, with rich systems of traditional medicine, be it Malay, Chinese, and Indian systems. The Minister of Health of Malaysia, His Excellency Mr. Khairi Jamaluddin, has recently highlighted that as many as 30% of Malaysians rely on traditional medicine systems. I think this is remarkable. The government of Malaysia's commitment to continue its efforts to integrate traditional medicine systems at all levels of health delivery is indeed laudable. And this is where we see a lot of synergy in taking this cooperation between our two countries forward. We are happy to note that Malaysia is home to usage of Indian traditional medicine in a big way, be it Ayurveda and Siddha, with its benefits reaching out to thousands of people. In fact, today we will have some of these beneficiaries who are with us. They will share their experiences and we really look forward to hearing from them. Friends, and Dr. Go, India, Malaysia, we both have been collaborating in the field of these traditional systems of medicine. The TCM division under the very able leadership of Dr. Go has been playing a seminal role in promoting responsible practice of traditional medicine systems. I stress the word responsible. India's Ministry of Ayush and TCM have been collaborating to promote traditional medicine in each other countries. In fact, we have had a memorandum of understanding signed in 2010, which was valid for about 10 years, and it is in the works for it to be upgraded. And again, Dr. Go is leading the campaign from the Malaysia end, and with our colleagues from India parallelly working on it. And this collaboration is indeed a very wide-ranging one, which includes exchange of practitioners, establishment of chairs in various universities, and exchange of best practices, as well as, more importantly, we have to look at how the medicine part of it to be promoted in a manner that, again, I emphasize the word in a responsible manner. In fact, I've just heard before I came into this meeting that there's a new university course to be initiated, launched by Malaysia, and we think particularly in the Ayurveda. So I think this is going to be an important step. I thank Dr. Go for her support to these programs in Malaysia. I also wish to acknowledge the important role of PEPTIM, the Malaysian Association of Indian Traditional Medicine, which is in a way to promote recognition and practice of Indian traditional medicine systems in Malaysia. Thank you, Dr. Jarni, as you take the reins of this organization in a big way. Now with the COVID slightly receding into background, we hope to have more and more engagements, more and more interactions through PEPTIM in Malaysia, again with the support of the TCM division, and taking this forward in a big way. As I said again, we in the High Commission of India will continue to work closely with the TCM division and PEPTIM to further advance the mutually beneficial and rewarding experience in traditional systems of Indian medicine. I wish all of you good health through Ayurveda for Poshan in your nutrition. And once again, before I conclude, a happy Deepavali to all of you in advance. And before I conclude, I also want to welcome Dr. Varsha Kannan. She's a Carnatic vocalist. We all just heard the melodious voice of her in giving a rendition on Dhanvantari. Once again, thank you very much and wish this event a success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We have amongst us today Dr. Go Cheng Soon, who's a medical doctor by profession with a PhD in medical law. She has vast experience working in different healthcare settings and also has more than 10 years of valuable experience in the field of traditional and complementary medicine in Malaysia. She is a council member for traditional and complementary medicine, the highest authority overseeing the regulation of the practice and practitioners of traditional and complementary medicine in the country. It's my privilege to welcome Dr. Go Cheng Soon to deliver her keynote address.
Thank you very much, Madam MC. Very kind introductions. Thank you very much. Okay, my keynote address is very short. Okay, the most important thing is I want to convey a very, very short message only. So, Your Excellency, Mr. B.N. Reddy, High Commissioner of India to Malaysia, Madam Archana Naik, Deputy High Commissioner of India to Malaysia, ladies and gentlemen, and all dear practitioners in Malaysia. I would like to thank the High Commissions of India for the opportunity to give a short speech on this auspicious day. Today, we celebrate Ayurveda Day, and I find the theme for this year's Ayurveda Day celebration very relevant to all of us, which is Ayurveda for nutrition. Nutrition plays a central role in Ayurvedic living. Ayurveda places special emphasis on ahara, diet, and anna, food, as a means to good life, health, and wellness. Healthy and wholesome of food nourishes the mind, body, and soul. Ayurveda asserts that although the digestive capacity of each person may be different, the quality and appropriate quantity of food are necessary for a healthy life. Hence, Ayurveda emphasizes that a diet must be properly selected and wisely formulated. So, like what Dr. CB refused to drink coffee just now. And yet, we proceed with coffee. Okay, not only according to the physical conditions of a person, but taking into consideration the body type, pitta, kapha, or vata, and should complement the seasonal and daily changes and other natural factors that surround an individual. Food taken in proper quantity provides strength, vigor, good compressions, and nurture the health of the tissue. In short, keeping healthy with the right nutrition for our body is as important as adopting a regular exercise regime, taking short breaks, and getting a good night's sleep every day. So in fact, all these are the few steps of having a healthy body. So proper sleep, nutritious diet, proper diet, okay? So all these are very, very important. Nutritious diet can prevent illness and support natural healing processes of the body. We need right amounts of everything to maintain a healthy and balanced lifestyle that will keep us away from diseases that affect us as we get older. So we can't deny aging, am I right? None of us can deny aging. But as long as our mind is healthy, our physically, mentally, and our soul emotionally are healthy. That is most important, okay? So we are gathered here today to celebrate the contribution of Ayurveda to the maintenance of good health, from prevention to treatment to aftercare. But for Ayurveda to work its magic, we need to empower ourselves with the right knowledge to understand what is manifesting within us and what are the best approaches to be taken to sustain ourselves in good health. I am therefore pleased to see a lineup of distinguished speakers in today's agenda, such as Dr. CB, Dr. Angeline, to share with us how we can utilize principles of Ayurvedic medicine in our diet, lifestyle, and for post-COVID-19 recovery. I am also delighted to see Dr. Janani, who will be delivering her speech on the relevance of traditional medicine in today's world. It is events like this that will allow us to gain important knowledge and insight on how we can integrate Ayurveda effectively into our life for better health. So, as just now Excellency has mentioned, government responsibility, practitioner, and the rakyat. I mean that the nations also have the responsibility. Whole community have the responsibility for the health, responsibility for individual health, for your family health, okay? So this is very important. I therefore wish the audience the best of luck in your educational endeavor. I want to thank the High Commissions of India for the warm hospitality accorded to all of us and for the successful organization of this forum. The development and promotion of traditional system of medicines has been one of the important area of collaborations between Malaysia and India. I think I don't want to elaborate much here because just now Excellency already elaborated it very clearly, okay? And then, in fact, he has provided us a lot of information pertaining to our collaboration. Malaysia and India have a very good relationship, and our collaboration is very, very happy. Has gone on very well for all these past 10 years. We will continue to work closely with the High Commission of India to elevate the practice and practitioner of traditional Indian medicine in this country to a level worthy of international recognitions. Thank you very much. Before I pass the floor to the distinguished guests, I would like to wish everyone happy Deepavali well ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Go, for your address. We have amongst us today some very prominent Ayurveda practitioners who will be delivering their talks on today's topic, which is Ayurveda for Poshan, which translates to Ayurveda for nutrition. First, we have Dr. C.D. Sibi from the Ayur Center, Malaysia. Dr. Sibi is a chief Ayurvedic physician at the Ayur Center who has a sound understanding of the modern medical and the paramedical sciences along with yoga. Dr. Sibi is also the current president of the Can Survive Center, Malaysia, which is known as the Can Survive, which is a non-profit organization that provides guidance and compassionate community support for patients who suffer from cancer, as well as to their family and friends. It's my pleasure in inviting Dr. Sibi to deliver his talk on Ayurveda for post-COVID recovery.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Respected His Excellency B.N. Reddy, the High Commissioner of India, Dr. Go Cheng Soon, the Director, TCM Division, His Excellency Dr. Archana Nair, the Deputy High Commissioner of India, dear friends and distinguished speakers. First, let me thank for giving me this opportunity to share some of my knowledge on this particular topic, which is post-COVID through Ayurveda. We know that from November 2019, when the first case was reported in China, we never took it seriously. We thought this is something like a normal infectious disease. Then it came to a standpoint in 3 months, we were completely quarantined. The quarantine started, we could not start our normal life. And we also still thought, okay, this is going to be an infectious disease with some antibiotics or with some lifestyle changes, we could actually conquer it. Then we realized that it is not easy. It started affecting not only just like a virus infection where you have fever or body pain and then you recover after 1 week, but there was an issue that it started continuously affecting the body, continuously affecting our system. Not just it affects, give you some pain or fever or joint pain or some issues connected to the digestion, it started affecting the chronic, it has started affecting the internal organs of the body, including kidney, the brain, the nervous system, the respiratory system. So different systems of the body where patients started suffering even for 3 months, 6 months, and even 1 year. So this particular topic, it's selected by the High Commission. It is an excellent topic. So I just want to take you into this, some of the, we call it long COVID. This long COVID name is where if anybody is suffering from a COVID attack, and if they continue suffering more than 4 weeks, that means it's infected, and if you still continue suffering with any of the symptoms, which can be chronic fatigue syndrome, it can be joint pain, it can be diffuse myalgia, it can be sleep abnormalities, it can be depression, it can be anxiety, and some cognitive symptoms like less focus, forgetfulness. That means it's affecting your mind. It can make you, not just the physical body is affected, it affects your mind also. Now, more than 50 long-term effects of COVID-19, a systematic review has been done through meta-analysis. There was 21 meta-analysis was done, and 47,910 patients were actually included in this study. And the follow-up ranged from 15 to 110 days from the age of 17 to 87 years old. And it was estimated that 80% of the patients were infected with COVID developed 1 or 2 long-term symptoms, which means it can be fatigue, which is 58%, it can be headache, 44%, attention disorder, hair loss, and dyspnea. Now, there are also there are many types of post-COVID conditions are there. The ongoing symptoms like difficulty in breathing, fatigue, post-exertional malaise, brain fog, headache, heart palpitation, joint muscle pain, changes in menstrual period. These are the most common, or you can say ongoing symptoms may be there. But there were also multi-organ effects in the body like kidney or lung, including the heart, including the skin, and brain functions and autoimmune disorders. The effect of the COVID-19 illness or hospital, even after hospitalization also made the people depressed, also sometimes some kind of a severe weaknesses, and also post-intensive care syndrome, that patients started feeling exhausted. Even if they come back after hospitalization, they still feel not normal. And also it has affected the children and adolescents. It has also had problems with mood and fatigue, and struggling with psychological issues ranging from stress, sleeplessness, depression, and trauma. And many long-term COVID-19 effects are still unknown. When you look at it, in this picture you can see there were many symptoms. It's not just you are actually having backache or body pain. There was low vision issues, there were red eyes, there were vertigo, there were fatigue for 53%, muscle pain, lack of appetite, diarrhea, skin lesion, joint pain, headache, rhinitis, loss or changed smells, sense of smell, Sjogren's syndrome, which is basically your eyes and mouth get very dry. It has become an immune disorder. And loss of changed sense of taste, sore throat, cough, chest pain, shortness of breath. 43% of the patient complained that 43% the shortness of breath and fatigue were with 53% of the patient. So now the long-lasting effect, it has affected many internal organs. It's not just only the symptoms. You can look at cardiovascular, which is affecting the heart, even acute coronary disease, heart failure, palpitations, arrhythmias, respiratory system, which is giving you shortness of breath, low blood oxygen, kidney, affecting acute kidney issues, chronic kidney diseases, musculoskeletal diseases, which is affecting the joints, generally malaise as well as fatigue and anemia, mental health, including anxiety, depression, sleep problems, substance abuse, nervous system, stroke, headaches, memory problems, smell problems, metabolic syndrome, including diabetes, high cholesterol, gastrointestinal, including constipation, diarrhea, and skin disorders, coagulation disorders, blood clot. You can look at it. A single virus could affect internally most of the systems of the body. Now let us look at it. How do this Ayurveda approach into it? Ayurveda basically say that, okay, when you have a condition, whether you have a condition of the respiratory system, or you have a condition of the kidney, or you have a conditions of your brain function, the approach has a complete protocol is there. And it basically say increase the digestive fire capacity. We believe that when you are affected by whether it's a virus infection or a bacterial infection, or you're affected by a metabolic syndrome, or it affects your lung condition, you try to improve the internal digestive capacity. We believe that infection will affect the digestive capacity first. That's why you will have fever, you will feel tired, you will not say that I have hunger. So creating the digestive fire, which is achieved by putting them into a low carb diet or a low protein diet, or giving them a very light, like we normally suggest some rice porridge, some khichdi, something like that is given. So we tell them don't take heavy meals. We tell them try to restrict from taking all the uncooked things. Don't take fruits. Even fruits we restrict them from taking. All milk products, all non-vegetarian, we tell them stop all those things, have some very light, easily digestible food. So that is the first thing is given. And if you say I don't have hunger, I don't feel appetite, then we introduce some herbal combination to improve the digestive fire until he feels that okay, I'm hungry. Then only you will start introducing the medicine for that particular condition he's suffering, even though all other medicines are continued. Then anti-inflammatory treatment is needed if in case we get a condition where he say, I do have fever, I do have inflammation, I do have joint pain, or I have, then only those internal herbals are introduced to treat that particular condition. Suppose he is suffering from a kidney disease, the medicines which is needed to improve the kidney function is introduced. Cellular cleansing. In some cases where they come after 3 months and say that I have a chronic kidney disease or I have a chronic lung condition, maybe if it is necessary, a detoxification is introduced. Otherwise, it is not introduced. And then, while we are administering this internal herbal combination to improve the digestive fire, introducing the herbal combination to improve that particular condition, then only we will start building up the immune system. That means we don't give immune building boosting medications in the beginning unless you have a good digestive fire, unless he say his symptoms are treated. And then if it is needed, a nourishment rejuvenation program is introduced. Of course, in Ayurvedic treatment program, there won't be a treatment program where the diet and lifestyle is not taken care. We won't tell you, we will never accept a patient that even if you say, okay, I'm having good appetite, I have only 3 meals, and sometimes you say, in the breakfast I take bread, I take some fruits, and in the lunchtime I take maybe a piece of chicken, or maybe I take bread, or maybe I'll be taking pizza, or maybe in the dinner I'm taking spaghetti. We will tell them, whatever you eat, make sure that you have a good digestive fire. If you're not hungry, don't eat. I think more on this nutritional information, Dr. Anjali will be sharing her views on that. Now, specific lifestyle intervention. Sometimes patients say, I do sleep 8 hours. Doctor, don't you think that's enough? But what time you go to sleep? Oh, I go to sleep by 2 o'clock. That is not recommended. We advise, I know you won't agree with this, 3 hours after sunset, which is 9:30. I think that's the time maybe our day starts. We open the Netflix and start watching the movie at that time. So, 3 hours after sunset, 9:30 or maximum 10:30. And the research has found that 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. is the only time our body produces melatonin, which is an enzyme which is good to make sure that your stress management is done successfully. It is an anti-stress hormone which is produced naturally in our body only if you sleep from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. It is not produced if you are awake. It is produced only if you sleep. That means there is no meaning in going to sleep by 2 o'clock and telling that you got up by 10 o'clock and you have an 8 hours sleep. So what time we sleep is very important. What time we wake up also is important, because 3 to 6 a.m. is the time body produces a lot of enzyme which is actually needed for improving the immune systems of the body, which is produced only if you are awake between 3 to 6 a.m. at least 5 a.m. So that means the body has given, the Creator has given capacity to take care of your system. Nobody is going to stop you when you are going to sleep by 9:30 or 10. They don't say that you don't sleep. That means we have the right to go to sleep. Nobody is going to stop you that when you wake up in the early morning, you have the right to wake up in the morning. Nobody is going to tell you that don't exercise. You can exercise. You can also choose what to eat, what not to eat. See, water is polluted, we don't have a control. Environment is polluted, we don't have a control. Fruits and vegetables are contaminated with pesticides and a lot of poisons are there. Sometimes maybe people around us also is contaminated with so many things. But if you are looking at that, everything is polluted, so I just want to complain about everything, but I don't want to take care of what I have. God has given us an ability to take care of us if you follow with whatever you have. If you wake up early, if you sleep early, if you exercise and eat 2 meals a day, that is enough for us. 2 meals a day is enough to make sure that have a proper lunch, have a proper light dinner. You won't fall sick. Then there is no need to blame the government. No, government is not taking care of us. We should take care of us. Then we think about what the government is going to do. That's what I feel. That's what I'm actually advising all my patients also. So specific medicines, therapies addressing, then only specific medicines, therapies are introduced to address the conditions. And yoga recommendation, including yoga exercises, meditations, if it is needed, we will introduce this. Now I'll just share 2 cases of COVID, which is treated, that is long COVID, a case study, a 48 male patient from Sadang Raya, Selangor, OPD file number. He came with a chronic fatigue syndrome, chest tightness, abdominal pain, loose motion, weakness, wasting of the left upper and the lower limb. He came in a wheelchair. since 1.5 months. He was COVID positive on March 14 and was on a ventilator for 18 days. And lab reports say that he also had associated complaints of diabetes and dyslipidemia, which is high cholesterol, which was recently diagnosed only after the COVID. And lab reports on 26th of April said that chest X-ray, bilateral, extensive, ill-defined reticulonodular changes. That means there were some nodes in the lungs. And spine MRI, thoracolumbar spondylosis, musculoskeletal, which is the ultrasound show, musculoskeletal, echogenical, mass, left anterior chest wall. There was a mass in the left chest. And the electromyogram showed axonal plexopathy. He could not lift the hand and he could not lift the leg. It was like a stroke, but it was a degeneration of the nervous system. And axonal neuropathy of the left upper and lower limb, hematology, hemoglobin was 11.1, liver profile was total protein 59, and renal urea 2.7. IPD admitted for 35 days, treatments given, all the names of Ayurvedic treatment were oil massage and all those things. And internal medicines were given, and patient at the time of the condition of the discharge, he had the chronic fatigue and chest tightness was not there, no abdominal pain, no loose motion, all those things improved. Weakness and wasting of the left and upper lower limb also was not there. He walked out of the patient was able to walk without support with the restricted movement. Only the left wrist, he was actually having some problem. Apart from that, he was recovered. These are the treatment program we could introduce. And another case, which is actually a 52 male patient from Shalom, Selangor, and also complained he was about 52, chronic fatigue syndrome, dyspnea, diffuse myalgia, hemorrhoids, and brain fog. And he was diagnosed as COVID positive category 4 on July 7 and was on ICU for 24 days and was on 60 milligram of prednisolone at the time of discharge. And also in the X-ray was actually showing a pulmonary fibrosis causing reticular, which is a net-like shadowing of the lung peripheries, which is typically more prominent toward the lung bases. He never had a problem. He was a very, very healthy person. And after the COVID, he was affected by this. And admitted for 14 days only. And we were giving some external oil treatment, some nasal inhalation treatment, some of the internal herbal formulation. And at the condition of the discharge, chronic fatigue syndrome, dyspnea, diffuse myalgia, hemorrhoids, brain fog considerably improved. That means he was actually going almost normal, and he continued medicine for another month. He was fine. There, what we introduced is the internal herbal combination, specific diet, some breathing techniques, and some breathing exercises. So these are the So what, like I was telling, in all these cases, sometimes patients are admitted or sometimes the patients are taking medicine and going back home. So we always tell them, if you are not having healthy issues, if you can exercise regularly, if you can do some oil application regularly, continue doing that at least once a week, and also try to do some regular detox once in 6 months or 1 year, and sleep early and wake up early. These are the advices we give them even after they get discharged. We always, like I was explaining, we will normally tell them not to take uncooked vegetables, and do not mix meat and dairy in your food. If you're a vegetarian, be a vegetarian. If you're a non-vegetarian, try not to take milk products along with the non-vegetarian food, because it is, according to Ayurveda, it is incompatible. If you're taking fish and chicken, mutton, everything is okay. Ayurveda is not against non-vegetarian, but try not to take milk products along with that. Minimize consumption of non-vegetarian food, avoid repeated defrosting and consumption of the old food. Old food also generally, nowadays there are some, we can see some of the WhatsApp messages, take rice which is actually cooked overnight and put some yogurt and some onions and then keep it overnight, and next day if you take it, it will be so good for your physical fitness. Yes, it is good for the physical fitness, but it is not good for the mental fitness. That means if you wanted to be intelligent, try not to take old food, reheated food. That means if your children want to be stronger physically, all this food are okay. But if you want them to be intelligent, don't give them old food. And protective measures, like all the SOP, try to maintain that all the time. And this is the normal SOP which everybody knows. And it is very important to follow a strict post-COVID regimen along with maintaining a positive state of mind to heal completely. Alternative healing methods have provided proved to provide long-term relief to the patient and boost immunity. Ayurveda can help heal the body's organs and free from any side effects. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sibi, for that useful insights to the topic. I think it's a much needed one in today's scenario. We have some of the beneficiaries of the Ayu Center's treatment who will be sharing their experiences with us. I would now like to invite Datin Rowena Baker to share her experience of the Ayurvedic treatment received. May I kindly invite Datin Rowena Baker?
Namaste. Your Excellency, Mr. Reddy, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today to give a short talk on my very long Ayurvedic journey, which began 14 years ago on the 10th of July. Ayurveda came about at the right time of my life. I was introduced to Ayurveda from my yoga practice, and I was perimenopausal and looking for a balanced approach to managing this new stage in my life. Ayurveda helped me positively change my lifestyle, and needless to say, I breezed through menopausal very easily. I spent a lot of time at the Ayurveda Center in PJ. Dr. Sebi was my friend and personal physician. We sometimes don't get along, but he knows what's best. I can't argue with that. My close friends would jokingly call me an Ayurvedic baby because I was always at the center. I sometimes feel very Indian because I follow a lot of the practices as well. And it's not that I do not believe in the wonders of Western medicine, but I believe more in the wonders of Mother Nature. And that's my Ayurvedic journey. There is well over 3,000 years of Ayurvedic science applied in Ayurveda, making it one of the oldest systems of traditional medicine. I've done my homework. I know nothing about Panadol or Gaviscon. You won't find any of these over-the-counter drugs in my home. But my friends who come sometimes to visit don't understand why I don't have Panadol at home. Talk to me about kashayams, aristams, and all of that, and I'm more better versed. You see, I believe that prevention is better than cure. And the Ayurvedic approach is a well-organized system of traditional health care that one must apply to one's everyday life to reap its benefits. It's not something you zip in and zip out of. You know, the core of Ayurveda is focused on prevention. It's based on the concept that general health and wellness rely on a delicate balance between mind, body, and spirit. That means you and I, we need to balance our three doshas, the Vata, the Pitta, and the Kapha. And all these three doshas are strong forces in our own constitution. My best advice to you today is to be wise and manage this tridoshic constitution within yourself. You will maintain a healthier lifestyle and can tolerate a wide variety of seasons and environmental conditions. Ayurveda, coupled with yoga and meditation, will balance your constitutional forces to maintain a healthy equilibrium. And thanks to Dr. Sebi, from Malaysia's Pioneer Ayurvedic Center, my Ayurvedic journey has never been dull. He's strict. I get back at you today. He's strict. He sees all types of patients all day in, day out, and trust me, he's seen them all. So, cannot cheat, all right? I am what he would term, I think, as a negotiating patient, as during my detoxing panchakarmas, I'm constantly negotiating. So, you see, I chanced upon Ayurveda later in life, and old habits die hard. So what I assumed would be the hardest changes to make actually turned out to be the easiest. And the first day I stepped into the Ayo Center and Dr. Sebi told me to become a vegetarian, I thought that would be the hardest thing I would ever have to do in my life. But it turned out to be the easiest. I never looked back from day one, and I've been a vegetarian ever since. So I switched cold turkey, and it wasn't hard, but I still have my moments swallowing large amounts of ghee, and I do not take kindly to the bastis or enemas. So I have a problem with that. The rest is a piece of cake. So Ayurveda is a wellness that encompasses lifestyle. It promotes heart health, weight loss, and sleep. And it reduces inflammation too. But that's not all. It's just an amazing discovery for me. All one has to do is just incorporate Ayurvedic wisdom into your modern life, and one has found the prevention to the cure. So I am just like anyone else who takes supplements and vitamins. From the people that I know, my friends, they take omega-3, glucosamine, but I only know Sukumaram, Danwandra, Manasamitra, and all these other names which my friends don't know. So this is my lifestyle. It is my Ayurvedic journey. Wherever I go, and I have been to some far-out places, I've been to Ethiopia and Siberia, up mountain peaks and down to the Teutonic Plates in Iceland. Wherever I go, I never leave home without my daily dose of Ayurvedic vitamins. So I'm truly convinced in the Ayurvedic lifestyle, so much so that my 3-year-old grandson began his Ayurvedic journey at birth. In the past 3 years, we have incorporated an arishtam in his milk every day, twice a day for his bottle feed. He now wonders why the milk he drinks is murky brown and all other milk is white. So he's a bit confused. He doesn't realize that we've actually put in some arishtam into his milk. So it's the best insurance for me, for my grandson. And if it's the best insurance for me and my family, it's worth to give a thought. I know I have a few friends from India who don't actually follow Ayurveda, and I'm a little bit surprised. And some do, but they're always very surprised at my knowledge, because I always read the medicines that I'm prescribed and the arishtams, and I go home and I Google, and it tells me what Dr. CB is treating me for, and like, oh, okay, so it makes sense now. So I don't take any of these Western drugs. I'm fully Ayurvedic, and it's my lifestyle. So what can I say? This is my sharing. Yeah. And I really have to thank Dr. Sebi, because he's brought me on an incredible journey. Yeah, I do my panchakarmas, although we negotiate, but I do my panchakarmas. Thank you.
Yeah, next we have Mrs. Geetanjali Sriram, who is a marketing and the communication head for Taco Bell Malaysia, who will be sharing her experiences of the Ayurvedic treatment she has received.
Hi. As a marketing person, I am born a skeptic, because you're always thinking somebody's trying to pitch you something. I came to Dr. Sibi after I had journeyed through, I think, about 16 different cities around the world with my husband, my 2 daughters, and I had worked in every single one of these places. So I was pretty exhausted. And we decided to actually come and retire here in Malaysia. My husband decided that it was time he put up his feet. And I thought I would give it one last chance. I actually came to help complete one of the jobs that I used to work at in the Philippines, where I was before this. And I had been thinking about going into Ayurveda for some time because, again, like Datin before me, it was all to do with turning 50 plus, and it's time when you start to really, take a hold of your health as a woman. But it had always been, oh, I have to go to Kerala for this. It will take a month. I haven't seen a month in my life in a very long time. But I heard about a place just down the road from my house being at Ayur Center, and I thought, okay, I'll give this a try. And that was probably one of the best decisions I made regarding my own health and taking charge of my own health. So my journey began relatively recently, about 2 years ago, in October 2019, which was the most fortuitous time for it to begin, because as we all know, what happened after that has been nothing less than quite a calamity for pretty much everybody that I know. I had no idea that, and somehow the universe must have conspired to make sure I got to this level of health before the pandemic. It really saved me from the stress that I went through then, through 2020 and through 2021. Through 2020, I ran a company called Publicis Group with 500 people. And through 2021, I was launching Taco Bell Malaysia. Both jobs were nothing less than chaotic. And not having had Ayurveda would have certainly made me a basket case. But with the journey that I was on, and the fact that, as Dr. Sibi was saying, he is not kidding you when he says, get to bed by 9:30, because I get to bed by 10 every single day. And he's not kidding you when he says, wake up at 5 and do your yoga at 6, because that's pretty much what I do every single day. And that rhythm was not something I could ever have expected out of myself until I went on the journey. I was generally healthy, I was generally exercising, but that kind of rhythm is only something you can do once you have kind of gone through the rigor of it. And it's not easy. I will never tell anyone it happens like that, but it's so well worth it. I had a few lessons that I learned from my Ayurvedic journey, which I am still on, and I plan to be on it for the rest of my life, because I want to be healthy as I age. I have gone vegetarian 2 years ago. No alcohol was not at all difficult to give up, and I was surprised that myself. But Ayurveda is for anyone at any time, not only when you have a problem. And that's something that I, as a result of it, have been putting my children, so my 16-year-old and my 20-year-old have both been treated by Dr. Sibi. They're both very interesting women, and I'm sure he will tell you stories about that. But you don't wait for a problem to happen. The other thing that I learned, a lesson I learned, is that the detoxing that happens if you choose to do the detoxing is actually a great way to start the healing. It's tough, but it's a great way to kickstart everything you do. So if you choose to do it, even though the detox is hard, it's such an important part of the process. That's how I feel. And yes, the ghee is the worst part of it. So I'm not going to kid you. That is out of all the fasting that you do, the ghee in the morning takes time to get used to. Health is a commitment. So that's a lesson I really learned. It is a commitment. It's not simply a state of being. It is something you commit yourself to, and it's not an easy fix. So don't think it's going to happen overnight, but stick with it, and it's going to show up in the right places. Don't let your failures detract you. So you will fall a few times, and you will go off the road a few times. Get back on it as soon as you can. There's no such thing as once you've gone off, there's no coming back. And oftentimes, the best thing to do is tell Dr. Sibi about how you've gone off track, and he will help get you back on. So whoever your practitioner it is, you have to be super honest with them. and trust is such an important part of the solution. Finally, I put down as don't allow people to dictate your journey. The same way that Datin was saying, what is this? What is this stuff you're taking all the time? Why can't you have a drink? Why must you not, eat, the mutton curry that I've made for you? Don't let other people dictate the journey of health that you are taking. It's as much your commitment to yourself as it is to your family, that you age well, that you live well, and that you live with as little stress and health problems as possible. So I believe that with all of this that I have been through with my journey, I stand here today feeling very, very confident that any one of you at any time in this room would be able to take the same journey and be just as successful. So I would always recommend start as soon as you can if you really believe that it'll make a difference in your life. So thank you very much. Thanks, Dr. Sibi, as always, all the people who have thanked him. And thank you, everyone, for listening to my story.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Geetanjali, for sharing your experiences with us. Next, we are joined by Dr. Anjali Rajivan, who is the Chief Ayurvedic Physician in the Holistic Arogya, Kuala Lumpur. She is an aspiring and young Ayurveda physician who is driven by the passion for the ancient science of Ayurveda. Dr. Anjali is a successful Ayurveda practitioner at various Ayurvedic centers in both India and Malaysia with more than 10 years of experience. Dr. Anjali recommends Ayurveda as an effective tool of healing, and today her talk is going to highlight Ayurveda for Poshan, for diet and lifestyle. It's my pleasure to invite Dr. Anjali Rajivan for her talk.
A warm good evening for one and everyone. So the topic I've been given today is Ayurveda for Poshan, and I've been allotted around 20-25 minutes. I might take 5 minutes extra because the diet, the topic is quite vast, and there are a lot of things that to be said, but I try my maximum to summarize the Ayurvedic concepts about diet and nutrition here today. As you all know, Poshan, the word Poshan, Ayurveda for Poshan, the word Poshan means nutrition, and nutrition is the study of nutrients in food, how the body uses them, and the relationship between diet, health, and disease. In Malaysia, this is a recent study which was conducted by United Nations in 2019, I think. 20.7% of children under the age of 5 suffer from stunting. Stunting is the stunted growth, which usually happens due to malnutrition, and 11.5% from wasting, which is also caused by malnutrition. 12.7% of children are obese. Another point to be noted here is that around 50% of the Malaysia's adult population also come under the category of obese or overweight. So here we can see on one side we have children who cannot have access to proper food. On the other hand, you can see people who are suffering with obesity. So you might wonder, these people are eating more. But actually, no, obesity can also be caused due to impaired nourishment or impaired nutrition. It is not always because you are eating a lot. Okay. So before going into the detail, I would like to give you a small introduction about Ayurveda, because I'll be using these terms quite frequently in the next few slides. As you all might know, Ayurveda is a part of Vedas. Vedas are considered one of the oldest textbooks known to the mankind. And according to Vedic philosophy, everything in the universe, including us human beings, are made up of 5 elements, which we call as Pancha Mahabhutas. They are space, air, fire, water, and earth. So functionally, these 5 Mahabhutas are classified into 3, which we call it as doshas, which are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Vata is responsible for the transformation that is happening in the body. Vata is responsible for the movement, any kind of movement that is happening in your body. Pitta is responsible for transformation that is happening in the body. And Kapha is the doshas responsible for nourishment. So when you have all these 3 doshas in balance, it is considered as a healthy status of human body. And when there is any change, any kind of imbalance happening to these doshas, will create diseases. So when we talk about healthy food, what is healthy food? Can we categorize all the food that is available, around us as healthy and unhealthy? We have a saying in Ayurveda, Jagatteva Anaushadam, means everything in the universe is medicinal. At the same time, a particular plant or a food which is also having medicinal property can act as a poison if you are taking it in a wrong time or in a wrong status of your health. Just like Dr. Sibi told, when you are sick, when you are having fever or high inflammation in the body, if you take fruits which are generally considered to be healthier, if you are a person with complete health, in a healthy status or healthy condition, which is healthier. But at the same time, if you're having fever, when you take fruit, it can act like a poison. It can actually inflame or increase the inflammatory status of the human body. So always the healthy food, it depends on the status of the human body. So there are certain fundamental principles that we need to be aware of when we speak about diet. First thing is, diet should contain sufficient nutrition or nutrients. How we know that our diet has enough nutrients or not? Again, that nutritional concept or sufficiency of the nutrients, it comes or it varies according to each individual person. You might come across people, suppose a family of 4 or 5 having eating all the meals at home cooked same meal all 3 times a day. One fine day, one of these group members has been diagnosed with protein deficiency. So the next thing people generally recommend is to start taking a lot of protein. It can be a whey protein or animal protein or plant-based protein. So if the deficiency is because of the lack of protein in the diet, then all the family members should have this deficiency. But why this particular person in the family is having this deficiency? It's probably because that person's digestion or assimilation, absorption, or even circulation of nutrients is not proper. So coming to the second point, account for body's ability to break down the food. We call this ability as Agni. Agni is otherwise known as fire. So it is present not only in your digestive system, it is present in each and every cell in your body. Because every cell intake nutrition for their growth and survival. Right? So that is something called Agni, and body should have the ability to absorb, hold on to, and utilize the nutrients. So it's like if you are even having a proper, nutritious meal, and your body is able to digest it, but still you could have deficiency of nutrition if your body is not able to assimilate or absorb it into your blood, and if your circulation is sluggish or slow because of various other factors, and at the end, if the tissue, Agni in the tissues or fire in your tissues and cells, if not adequate, it can also lead to indeficiency. Last but not the least, healthy elimination. We have a lot of excretory organs in our body: colon, urinary system, skin, liver. All these things act as excretory system, and the main property is to throw away any kind of waste or toxin from the body. So if you are eating food, once it gets digested, there are 2 parts that are formed. One is known as Sara, which is the essence of the food, which is used for the nourishment of the human body. Another part is known as Kitta, which is otherwise called waste, which need to be thrown out of the body. So if you are not throwing out on a regular basis, if you are not moving your bowels on a day-to-day basis, or if you are not sweating on a day-to-day basis, there is always a chance of accumulation or reabsorption of these toxins in the body, which can be quite fatal in a long term. So now you might wonder what to eat. Right, doctor have said all these things. So what are the options for me? So generally in Ayurveda, if you are a healthy person without any diseases, you can have food according to your digestive status, and the food should be warm, easy to digest, and impart strength in your body. But if you are a diseased person, if you are having indigestion or inflammation or any other diseases per se, you need to consult a doctor and identify your issues and eat accordingly. That is the main thing. So I cannot generally say you should have this percentage of carbohydrate or this percentage of proteins or vitamins or minerals in your diet, because that doesn't work. Ayurveda believe every individual is unique. Every individual's digestion, assimilation, absorption, circulation, all these capacities are very, very unique. So we cannot generalize a particular diet as healthy. They should always observe their body and eat accordingly. But in general terms, we can say anything that is genetically modified. You know, most of the genetically modified foods are wheat, corn, and soy, which we use almost on daily basis in our day-to-day life. Preservatives and other chemicals in food. When you buy anything in a tin or a can or a packet, it must have some kind of preservatives and additives to store it for a longer term. Recently, there is being news, I heard about certain biscuits in Malaysia, and some Hong Kong agency considered it as carcinogenic. And the next day onwards, I saw a lot of write-ups about health ministry in Malaysia, Singapore saying it is safe to eat. So where does this safety comes from? You know, most of, when you actually go deep into it, when you check into the safety regulation of food or for anything per se, it's like certain, you know, if certain carcinogen is present below a certain percentage in the food, it is considered as safe. So what will happen to a person who takes this food for breakfast, lunch and dinner almost 7 days a week? And do believe me, there are people who take these biscuits as breakfast and dinner on a daily basis. And they consider this as healthy. Most of the time when we come across patients in our clinic, they say, "Doctor, I'm eating very light. I'll be eating, biscuit, and still I am gaining a lot of weight. Still I am suffering from a lot of health issues." So that is important. What you are putting into your mouth, either it feeds your diseases or it fights your diseases. So always try to eat home cooked meals, because you are 100% sure that what all ingredients you are mixing into that food. If you eat out, you have no guarantee what all things they are adding into your food. And again, frozen food, instant food, which are also packed with a lot of preservatives. So what you can buy, definitely organic, seasonal and locally grown foods, because Ayurveda believes nature knows the best antidote to you. So if nature is providing mango or particular fruit in a particular season, it is because you need that food or fruit in that particular season. And if you don't get mangoes in certain months, you shouldn't take mangoes in those months. So as Malaysians or as people who are living in tropical countries, we do not need apples or oranges imported from Australia, New Zealand or US, because they have a different climate, and it is for the people who are living in those countries and in that climatic regions, these food have to be taken for. But for us, we have a lot of tropical fruits and vegetables which are available throughout the year, and we can eat all those veggies and fruits. You don't need these imported fruits on a day-to-day basis to keep your nutrition status alive. Time. As Dr. CB said, there is no rule that you should eat 3 times a day. You can eat 2 times or even 1 time a day depending on your digestive fire. I just wrote down the timing to give you a general idea. The first and foremost principle when it comes to kala or time of eating is you should only eat food when you are hungry. You shouldn't eat if you are not hungry, because eating without hunger will give rise to something called ama. I missed to explain about it earlier. Ama is something called toxin, literally not a toxin, but metabolic waste product or partially or improperly digested food. When you take certain improper food or incompatible combinations at inappropriate times, or eat food without being hungry, the food that is getting digested will also produce ama. And this ama over the time get accumulated in the body and give rise to a lot of diseases, especially autoimmune conditions, where the modern medicines usually say they don't know why your immune system is behaving like this. But Ayurveda specifically says in a lot of disease explanation, most of the root cause of this autoimmune inflammations and infections are usually due to the presence of ama in the body. For a normal person who is active, who is living an active lifestyle, this ama gets burned away with the help of our fire as well as our activity. But if you are a person who leads a very sedentary lifestyle, who sits in front of a computer 8-9 hours a day and who watches TV the rest of the time, they will not burn ama at all. So over the time, this ama could take maybe years, maybe months to develop into a particular disease. So it is important that you should only eat when you are hungry. And if you have indigestion, if you have loss of appetite, you should consult a physician and try to understand what is happening in your body, and take some herbs or even simple hot water, boiled hot water. If you keep drinking it sip by sip every 10-20 minutes, you can actually increase your appetite. Then you can have your lunch. Eating too much or too little at the wrong time is at the same time bad for your health. Fasting is considered to be one of the best ways by which you can burn the ama, but doing it without a proper guidance can bring harmful effects too. So consult your physician to understand what kind of fasting will be ideal for you. How to eat or how much to eat. In Ashtanga Hridaya, Vakpada, one of the acharyas of Ayurveda, have written, you should fill 3/4 of your stomach with food and water. Half of your stomach with food, solid food, 1/4 quantity with water, and the rest 1/4 part of the stomach should be left free for the doshas to interact well and digest the food. So if you're eating completely until here, this digestion also get impaired accordingly. So how do you know that you are about to be full? Usually, that's how the act of eating is very important here. If you are a person who, constantly eating, or if you eat very slowly or very fast, or you're focused on something else and eating, you will not know when your stomach is full. Usually, if you are hungry and start eating after a few bouts of meal, you feel that you are satisfied. You can stop at that point. If you feel 2 more spoons of a particular food is gonna make you really full, stop at that point. Don't take that 2 teaspoons. But at the same time, if you are immersed in some other kind of activity like watching TV or driving or walking and all, you will not realize if you are full or not. You'll just keep eating. So this is also one of the reasons why your nutritional status could get impaired. Where to eat? That is another question. How many of us will, have the habit of eating on dining table? Most of us are accustomed to all those things, having a party and eating, having a meeting and eating, talking to your friend and eating, watching TV and eating. All these considered are very normal. And only the act of eating, which is the most important thing to do in our human life, is considered very silly. We are not yogis, we are normal human beings who get nutrition or energy from the food you eat. You cannot take it from atmosphere, right? So food is considered as prana or life force. That is why across all the religions around the world, everyone has a habit of praying in front of food. Maybe, if you talk to your grandfathers or maybe your parents, they know. Everyone has a habit of sitting in front of the food and giving a prayer. And what is happening at that time? More than religious viewpoint of this particular action, it's when you sit in front of food for a while, maybe 10 seconds, you're preparing your body to receive the food. You're seeing it, you're smelling it, so your body knows that you are going to ingest it. So proper acid secretions will happen in your stomach and proper digestion will happen. But when you focus on other things and eat, body doesn't know where to focus. If you're watching, your brain will be doing something else and your tummy will be doing something else. So make sure that when you eat, sit down in a proper place, in a proper environment. Do not talk or laugh while eating, because these all impacts the process of digestion. Simply by changing these things itself will give a lot of changes in your health status. You don't have to go and do a lot of things. Just try to accommodate these things into your day-to-day practice. Another important thing in Ayurveda, we have 6 tastes in Ayurveda. Sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, and astringent. And Ayurveda says we should include all these 6 tastes in everyday meal. Sweet doesn't mean ice creams or chocolate or cakes and other stuff. Okay, sweets means rice or sugar or carbohydrates, generally all the grains and cereals belong to sweet category. Sour, you already know, salt and pungent also you can understand. Bitter and astringent, bitter gourd, moringa, leafy greens, turmeric, all belongs to bitter group. Astringent is the taste of legume, all our pulses, all the dals. And green banana, capsicum, these are some of the taste of food that belongs to astringent category. So you should try to include all this taste in your diet. You might know about the dish rasam, right? Rasam basically got its name from the 6 taste. Taste in Ayurveda is called rasa. So it has all the 6 tastes in it. That is why it is considered to be one of the healthiest drink. It is very common in India, especially when you come to South India. everyone will have rasam towards the end of the meal. And it has everything, right from sweet to astringent. It has all the ingredients of 6 tastes in it, which basically boost up the whole process of digestion and will be easy on your tummy. Dr. Sibi mentioned about Viruddhahara, food combinations. A particular food will be healthy when it is like individually taken. As he said, when you take fish and when you take milk, both are healthy in different aspects. But when you combine fish and milk together, either in the process of cooking or in the process of eating, it turns out to be poisonous. And when I say poisonous, it doesn't mean that you are going to die soon. It acts as a slow poison. And especially if you have a habit of eating this on a regular basis for long term, this could accumulate. This can be one of the reasons why ama is produced in the body. Ama starts accumulating and give rise to a lot of skin conditions, so skin diseases. Similarly, any non-vegetarian food shouldn't be combined with milk. Eggs or any kind of non-vegetarian food shouldn't be combined at all. Same with fruits, citrus fruits with milk is highly incompatible combination. So this incompatibility, while you are cooking, you should observe what things you are mixing. Another example is equal quantity of ghee and honey. Ghee as alone and honey alone is very much good. In different ratio it is good, but if you combine it together in equal ratio, it can also act as a toxin in your body. Coming to lifestyle choices, exercise and sleep well. I told you a lot about ama, right? So in order to burn ama, the first thing you can start doing is to exercise every day. If you are eating food every day, you should work out every day. Okay, and working out, there are a lot of people who works out a lot. So anything in extreme is also dangerous. Nowadays, we are coming across a lot of youngsters who are in 20s and 30s, who are having heart attack and passing away in fitness centers and gyms. And it is quite shocking to many of us. The thing is, exercise has to be done when your body is not in an inflammatory status. So post-COVID recovery or post any infectious disease discovery, you shouldn't start exercise soon. You can go for a walk, a normal walk. You can be active in general, but exercise is something where your heartbeat goes up and you start sweating profusely. That is what exercise in Ayurveda is, and it has to be done on empty stomach. Not definitely after food. Ayurveda recommends to do exercise in the morning, preferably in the empty stomach, not after the intake of food, because it can give rise to ama. And not preferably in the evening, but if you don't have time in the morning, only option is to do it in the evening. Try to do it without taking any food. Do it in the empty stomach. Coming to sleep, again as Dr. Sibi mentioned, make sure that you sleep at least by 9:30, 10 o'clock. It is considered to be the Pitta Kala. Pitta Kala is the time where your body resets itself, kind of detoxifies your body. If you are not asleep at that time, this toxic accumulation could happen and impair your digestion and metabolism and give rise to many metabolic conditions in long term. Hypertension, diabetic or hypercholesterolemia, a lot of diseases. So make sure it's not the amount of sleep. There are people who say, I get 8 hours sleep, but what time you go to bed? 2 o'clock. Definitely, and that's not at all a healthier lifestyle. It's not the amount of sleep. So there are certain people who are healthy with 4 hours of sleep, who are healthy with 8 hours of sleep. It depends on that individual person, that unique prakriti or constitution of that person and the amount of activities they are indulging. So make sure that you go to bed early and try to wake up early. You should get a very sound sleep too, to have optimal nutritional status or to provide a good health to your body. So these are some of the points to take home. Eat only when you are hungry. Eat organic or locally grown food whenever possible. It is worth the extra penny that you are spending. Avoid any kind of GMO, frozen, processed and preserved food. Incompatible combination, fried and junk food, try to avoid as much as possible. Always drink boiled water. That is something all of you can adopt. It has a different effect on the body. Unboiled water can bring down your metabolism, can make your circulation sluggish, make your recovery from any disease lower. So if you have been infected or if you've been going through any disease, make sure that you drink hot and boiled water. Even plain boiled water is more than enough. You don't even need to add any spices into it. Just plain boiled water, drink it warm throughout the day. Minimize restaurant eating, try to include all taste in your cooking, limit the intake of non-veg and include more vegetable. Ayurveda is not against non-veg. Ayurveda emphasizes on the different qualities of meat and do advise eating meat at certain aspect. Again, it depends on the person. If you are a person who is having or leading a sedentary lifestyle, definitely non-veg is not for you. But if you are an active person who works out on a regular basis and have a very active lifestyle, you can take a healthy non-veg in your meal, preferably during the lunch time, not in the breakfast and not in the dinner. Exercise regularly and sleep early. Thank you, and last not the least, I wish you all happy Dhanteras, Dhanvantari Jayanti, and happy Ayurveda Day. And I wish also to extend my thanks to PEP team as well as ICC and TCM for organizing this event and to give an opportunity for me to share my knowledge here. Thank you. Wish you all good health.
Now we have Ms. Shireen Ramali, who will be sharing her experiences of the Ayurveda treatment she has received at the Ayur Center.
Thank you. Good afternoon, guests, Your Excellency, our extremely knowledgeable doctors here, and all our distinguished guests today. It's amazing to listen to Dr. Sibi's other patients. Mine's a little different in that I have been a sick baby. I was born with a heart defect. At the same time, I had autoimmune problems, which actually landed me in hospital for cardiac arrest. And I had also tumor. So when it was by divine intervention, I landed in Dr. Sibi's clinic again. I had not decided at that time to continue with something traditional. Obviously, I think with a lot of communities here in Malaysia, some knowledge towards Ayurveda is restricted. We weren't exposed to the kind of treatments that Ayurveda can give for such chronic diseases. And obviously, allopathy treatment was always the first decision. Even for families, I think it was very difficult for families to understand when you decide to do something so drastic like a traditional treatment that you can't see, and continue, and long term as well, instead of something that can mask the treatment or mask your pain or mask your defect that you have from chronic diseases because your body just cannot function anymore. So there I was after 6 doctors, and all the doctors said that my tumor was something that they couldn't see anymore. So if they had to cut me, they had to cut through. I'm going to be a little bit personal with this. It's been a long time, but here I go. So they had to cut through my uterine, intestine, and thorax. When you're given that sort of decision, after already having multiple heart surgeries, I didn't really want to have lines all over my body, just taking things out. So in the end, I decided, okay, I will trust Dr. Sibi and gave him all my trust, including the list of food that I couldn't eat or touch. But Dr. Sibi is very fair. He says, fruits, no problem, Shireen. You can look at it. Milk, no problem, Shireen. You can look at it every time. So I actually stayed in the center for many, many months. And we're talking many months because I started actually writing on the wall, how many days do I have left before I leave? And after weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks in there, I thought, oh my goodness, what's happening? I decided anyway to go for a small little surgery to check my tumor. And this is now also being discussed because I went to a government hospital in Putrajaya. And this has been discussed by the doctors there. They have a cancer hospital as well there. And it's now a case study that, because they obviously don't touch Ayurveda as their treatment at all. And they said it's a miracle because not only did my tumor shrink, it had detached from all my organs. It was a tumor that they could not recognize anymore. And they managed to save me from hysterectomy, from even any touch of my intestines or thorax, and it was almost like a C-section. So Ayurveda is so much bigger than just, I think, something that was introduced to me. It was a miracle. And now I'm in the food industry and I have a restaurant, and I find myself always advising my customers and also how we engineer our menu according to a lot of Ayurvedic practices, including we've eliminated white sugar from a lot of our items. I don't actually serve dinner. And a lot of my customers ask me this. And I say, because, I don't really want you to eat later because you have to sleep early. And I want you to sleep properly. We only use 40% parboiled rice to lower the sugar level. The only sugar that we do introduce is also a sugar that has been tested by the Diabetic Society. So things like this that has obviously now expanded into our little community. And I hope to keep doing that because this kind of education towards a more natural living standard, I think will help us a lot. And we've seen it so much with so many patients from Dr. Sibi. And I keep sending actually all my friends to him as well. Because every day that you choose yourself and choose the natural magic that the world has given you, I think you'll be surprised to how much magic there is that your body can do to heal yourself. I'm not completely healed, of course, and that I'm off balance a lot, and he knows this. I still love my coffee, but I don't drink alcohol anymore, so there's balance, a lot of balance. And Ayurvedic's balance, so we do balance very well. And I hope to continue spreading some and sharing my story with a lot more people outside of people who are automatically given the opportunity to know about Ayurveda. I think, there's still a lot of people who aren't automatically, directly given the opportunity at all, especially in this country. So, thank you so much for listening to my share, and happy Deepavali to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sharon Wali, for sharing your experiences with us. We are now joined by Dr. Janani Bhupalan, who is the president of PEPTIM, the Malaysian Association of Indian Traditional Medicine. Dr. Janani is the first Ayush scholar from Malaysia, and she's also the counselor at the Council for Traditional and Complementary Medicine Division, Ministry of Health, Malaysia, and she is also a WHO expert. She will now brief us on the relevance of traditional medicine in today's world.
Mada Pida Guru Devam. Vanakkam, Namaskar, Selamat Sejahtera, and good evening to His Excellency, Dr. Goh Cheng Soon, Dr. CB, and Dr. Anjali, as well as all the attendees. Thank you for attending today's event. Okay, here we go. I find that life itself is a celebration. We know that something is entering the body and leaving the body. But we have not scientifically proven that yet. So I think in life, every single thing does not really require scientific validation. And maybe not in today's term, but these have been documented in our ancient textures in their own term, which we are trying to understand from our way of language, science, and technology. So here we go. Currently in traditional medicine, being the ancient and culture-bound medical practice which existed in human societies before the application of modern science to health, the practice of traditional medicine varies widely in keeping with the societal and cultural heritage of different countries. Every human community responds to the challenge of maintaining health and treating diseases by developing a medical system. Thus, traditional medicine has been practiced to some degree in all cultures. After the introduction of modern medicine into the region, traditional medicine was usually rejected by the formal medical service system. Recently, however, attitudes towards traditional medicine have changed. Traditional medicine is now widely used in the region and practiced side by side with modern medicine in most countries, including Malaysia now. Many traditional remedies and therapies have transcended their original culture and become complementary or alternative medicine in other countries as well. Modern medicine developed very quickly and made major contributions to disease control in the past century. Interestingly, despite a rapid growth in knowledge and techniques in modern medicine, the end of the last century also saw a dramatically increased interest in traditional medicine. The increasing public demand for its use has led to considerable interest among policymakers, health administrators, and medical doctors on the possibilities of bringing traditional and modern medicine together. The practice of traditional medicine is mainly based on conventional use and personal experience. The value of traditional medicine, as well as many modern medical treatments, has not been fully tested by using modern scientific means. Extensive accounts of use and experiences from generation to generation provide some evidence of the effectiveness of traditional medicine. However, scientific research is needed to provide additional evidence of its safety and effectiveness. To evaluate the role of traditional medicine in maintaining health, to develop a scientific approach to policy making in traditional medicine, and ultimately to focus on how traditional medicine can be harmonized with modern medicine. And so we are in collaboration with World Health Organization, Traditional and Complementary Medicine Division of Ministry of Health Malaysia, and also Ministry of Ayush. And I would like to thank High Commission also contributing in every countries in the development and establishment of traditional Indian medicine in the countries all globally. And to Indian Council for Cultural and Relation for providing scholarships for students to pursue traditional Indian medicine in India. Recently, the WHO Traditional Medicine Strategy 2014 to 2023 was developed and launched in response to the World Health Assembly Resolution on Traditional Medicine, WHA 62.13. The strategy aims to support member states in developing proactive policies and implementing action plans that will strengthen the role traditional medicine plays in keeping populations healthy. Addressing the challenges, responding to the needs identified by member states, and building on the work done under the WHO Traditional Medicine Strategy 2002 to 2005, the updated strategy for the period 2014 to 2023 devotes more attention than it is predecessor to prioritizing health services and systems, including traditional and complementary medicine products, practices, and practitioners. So, as for now in Malaysia, we would like to thank Dr. Goh Cheng Soon, also in the work of establishment for traditional Indian medicine as well as other traditional medicine practices, for recognizing those area of practices. As for now, the practices are being able to register themselves as licensed practitioners to ease their practice. Besides, WHO recently have done finalization of the terminology standardization on traditional Indian medicine documents for Ayurveda, Siddha, and Unani. So I've been working with the team since 2019 December, as I've also attended the meeting in Gujarat in 2019. And we have finalized some terms that will be standardized for the use of a global population. So hereby, I would like to thank also High Commission for providing the opportunity for Malaysian Indian students to pursue traditional Indian medicine in India. Besides, like for myself, I myself is an ICC student, and I've been here before attending alumni programs. And the previous regional manager here have been my scholarship officer in Chennai as well. So, and we would like to thank Indian government for supporting us and for their contribution even from Ministry of Ayush in constructing the syllabus for traditional medicine courses that we are planning to conduct here in the Malaysian colleges and medical institutes. Besides that, I would like to also mention some contribution from our PEP Team Association for the establishment work. So hereby, I would like to thank Dr. Dato Duraraja sir, who was the founder of the PEP Team, and he is no more. So after that, was taken over by Vaidya Raghubadi sir, and now myself have been given the opportunity to lead our senior members in the association, as I look at it in a way where, you know, when we were young, the elderlies used to take care of the youngsters, and when we grow up, we have the responsibility to take care of the elderlies, and that's how I feel, and I'm privileged to hold the position as a president in the association. Being assisted by the advisory team as well, Dr. Chandrasekharan sir, also a member in the advisory team, and with their help, we are working towards the globalization of traditional Indian medicine in all the other divisions as well, which is Siddha system of medicine, Unani system of medicine, homeopathy, and one more is yoga and naturopathy. So these are the areas we are working towards to get the global recognition and acceptance. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity given to me by High Commission, ICC as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Janani. That was quite an enriching experience for all of us listening to all these prominent dignitaries talk to us about Ayurveda. Now I'd like to invite Ms. C. Sushma, the First Secretary of Commerce, Political and Education from the High Commission of India, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening. On behalf of the High Commission of India in Kuala Lumpur, it is my privilege to propose the vote of thanks. I thank Dr. Goh Cheng Soon, Director of the Traditional and Complementary Medicine, Ministry of Health, Government of Malaysia, for gracing this occasion and delivering keynote address. Thank you, Dr. Go. I would like to thank Dr. Janani, President, Malaysian Association for Indian Traditional Medicine, and the entire PEPTIM team and the senior members. Thank you for your support all through. I would like to thank Dr. CB for his constant support for the event and his very insightful and excellent presentation on how Ayurveda plays an important role in post-COVID recovery. I thank Dr. Anjali Rajivan for her elaborate presentation and capturing the essence of this year's theme, that is Ayurveda for nutrition. Thank you, Dr. Anjali. We also thank Datun Rowena Baker, Ms. Gitanjali Sriram, Ms. Shereen Ramali for taking your time out and attending this event and sharing your personal experience with all of us. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. I also thank the representatives of the media for your interest and presence in the event. Thank you. I would like to now thank our High Commissioner and the Deputy High Commissioner for your constant guidance and support, and all the colleagues at the High Commission of India and the India Cultural Center for making sure that this event happened very smoothly. Thank you one and all. Happy Deepavali.
Thank you very much, madam. With this, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of today's celebration. On behalf of the High Commission of India in Kuala Lumpur, I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. Along with the partner organizations, I thank you all again in making this event a grand success. I also take this opportunity to wish you and your family a very happy Deepavali on behalf of High Commission of India. I invite you all now to join us for some light refreshments. Take care, stay safe, namaste, Jai Hind.